Let's see what we get. What's up? What's up? What's up? There we go. Okay, let's see if this thing's gonna work. All right, we're on and popping. Okay, guys, so we're going to be going through a few things. Hopefully the stream is a little bit cleaner. Sorry for this annoying thing right here. I don't know how to make it go away. Luckily, it's not on my beautiful face, right? So we're going to be looking at two athletes I work with. I got their race film today. Shout out to Dropbox, sponsor me. We're going to be looking at their races. We're going to be looking at another girl, the Big G. She be balling outrageous in her, oh, we got a little feedback. She's got crazy fast IM, crazy fast breaststroke. Super intelligent kid, like picks up on things like super fast. We're going to be looking at her backstroke hobble catch we're working on. And then we're going to finish up. I had a poll on my Instagram, 3 things that coaches thought were most prevalent. And the one that went out was how to increase the performance of your kids' group / team. So we're going to go over some advice, some strategy that I used back before my kids started killing the game. All right, so first we're going to see if we can get this iPad stuff to work. This is going to be interesting. Transition. All right, so here we have, this is a kid, if you've watched any of my past videos, this kid was kind of plateaued on his freestyle, and then, you know, end of long course goes to top 50 time in the country in the 200 free, 159. But we're gonna look at his backstroke. So in his backstroke, let's see if we get a good quality. If I can just play it. Oh man, it's still choppy. Oh. We almost had a winner. Well, I'm going to, sorry guys, you guys are going to deal with this because I'm going to knock this out tonight. I ain't trying to have more work. Man, that sucks that it's still choppy like that. So, sorry guys, you're just going to have to deal with me looking at his video like this. So, looking at his backstroke, the main thing that we have been working on is trying to speed up the aggressiveness of his hand speed. And we see that done super well, right? On a tempo standpoint, we're getting to around, actually let's just look at the second 50. We're getting to, we got a hand hit. .15, that's really good. Oh wow, it's totally not synchronized. Ah. Dang, I'm gonna have to end this stream again. Can't win, guys. Okay, so we are not going to do this. So we won't do this 2 race analysis because that is bad. That's Michael Jackson. No, it's not Michael Jackson bad. So what we're going to look at is we're going to attempt to look at this high elbow catch stuff. Okay, so this is the Big G over here. Let's see how smooth this is. All right, so this is acceptable. So we'll look at her backstroke. So we're working on our high elbow catch, the skill. Oh no. Okay, so the skill that I use, it's a over top elbow catch skull. That's what we call it. So you're trying to keep the elbow out in front of the head. And we're basically like wafting, like, you know, it's a funny word for the kids because they're usually in science and you learn to waft instead of smelling directly into stuff, right? So we're wafting over the top of the elbow. We're pushing the elbow out away from the body while we're pulling the hand in towards the shoulder. And when we do that, we get a nice over the top of the elbow, beautiful high elbow catch. All right. Looking real professional. Right? So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna give that. So all my kids, they have we have a star system that we use for communicating back what they're seeing in the videos. Delete that one. Okay, so here we're going, and now usually we want to do this without a kick, so you can see her legs aren't really kicking anything, because we want to try and create power even with the high elbow catch. So before we're even starting the pull with just the catch, we're creating propulsion, right? So a big part of my service is we're trying to squeeze every drop out of everything in the stroke, right? That's our advantage, because we know that you ain't doing this, so it's all advantage that, you know, my kids get to use. You know, you want to use this drill, I suggest you use it. It's great for getting the feel of setting the catch before the pull even happens. I believe after this video, I talked to her about not bending that wrist. So we're going to give this a nice little 3 stars, because 3 is, it's acceptable, right? Like, it's good enough. If it stayed like this the rest of your life, great job. We going after that. We going after that 5-star rating and that elite rating. You know what I'm saying? So now we're trying to go with the wrist staying a little bit more stiff. And a good thing that you can tell if she's holding water is you see that water get disrupted right by her head after the skull, right? That splash that's rolling up on her cap. Okay, I think I had to talk to her about keeping her elbows still. So yeah, she did a real good job. All right, so we got an underwater one. Yeah, now she's got the wrist much stiffer. Oh no, here we go. Talked about, okay, keeping the elbow out in front. We got a stiff wrist. Elbow out in front. We look at the surface of the water. You can see the disruption of the surface of the water. And you'll see that a lot when people are doing their full pull, right? Is as they'll set that catch, and as that hand's pulling and the wrist flips over, you see the water disrupt like that. Like I said, this kid's like super intelligent, you know, great, intelligent athlete, picks up things a lot easier than pretty much everybody I work with. Does a lot of things really naturally great on her breaststroke, and that's why she balled out. You know, definitely someone to keep your eyes on, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, just a great high elbow catch. Over the top. You know, once we start adding the pull to that, cancel Christmas. Let's see. Right, yeah, now we're adding the pull to it. So we see that hand go in, coming over the top of the elbow, nice and wide. Big baller. Big baller. But another. All right, so here we're getting a little too narrow. Right, we want a nice wide pull, not super narrow, but we do have a great high elbow catch, which is entering deep. Bubbles are clearing the hands. Then we're coming over the top of the elbow. Mwah, mwah. That's what I'm talking about right there. Oh, I'm messing up. We gotta make sure we put a 5 next to that. Video 5. So yeah, you know, picking up really fast. We just got some minor details we gotta iron out. Man, I'm really hating that this live stream is acting up. All right, here we go. So she's getting a little wider. You know, we're pulling behind the back. I'm not a fan of that. We're human animals, and we're not made to create power behind our backs. But we do have a great catch. So we just want to move that hand from, or that shoulder angle from back here to a little bit more in front, where we're strong as a human animal. But yeah, you know, first day learning it, like I said, this girl's a G. Let's see, I think this may be the best one. Let's see if she's getting wider. Okay, so we're narrow at the end, but you know, like I said, day one, pretty good. Getting in front of that, hands in front of the torso, good. And we see that boom over the, let's see, I gotta get in the frame. We see that deep over the top of the hand as the arm pulls through. into the finish. Boom, nice, nice. So we'll work on that, you know. See if we can see. Man, this camera is messing up. All right, let's see what we got. Boom. There we go. You can see a little bit of the water fold at the end of the stroke. So yeah, day one, you know, that's pretty good. You can see the water sheets moving from that catch. Big baller. Man, I gotta figure this out because I can only make this mistake once the live stream happens. So I gotta figure this out. All right. So we're gonna go back. All right, so the last thing that we have on the schedule is the coaches wanting to increase the performance of kids and groups versus the team. Okay, so one of the big things you gotta kind of look at, like improving your kids, your groups, your team. I always look at it, you gotta reverse engineer some stuff, right? So when I started coaching, the gold standard, right? Well, Texas Longhorns. You know, if you think it's otherwise, you're tripping. Sorry, get your act together, homie. So it's like, okay, if any research training, you're doing X, Y, Z, right? That's the gold standard. I have these 8-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 13 and 14-year-olds who are all B level swimmers. Okay, by the time they're 18, they need to be able to go, let's just say 110. 110 for a bunch of 100s free. Okay, so I have an 8-year-old who has no B cuts, and the end result is 110, 100 frees. Let's just say 10 100s on 110, right? Step below that, so what do they need to be doing in high school? What skills do they need to have to doing whatever is the prereq as a high school senior, okay? What is before those prereqs of what a high school senior needs to do, right? What's before that? What's before that? So you end up going, okay, 8-year-old who doesn't know how to swim, they need to know how to breathe to the side, right? So I have a ladder coming down and a ladder of reverse engineering and a ladder going up, right? So I say that to say this. No, I quit this. It's trying to tell me that an app I quit on its own. That was me. So with how to think, right? I use the USA Swimming ADM, right? We'll pull that up real quick. You know what I'm saying? ADM. The American Athlete Development Model. We're in open studio mode. Windows share template. We're going to add an image. Okay. ADM, where is it? Oh, where is it? ADM, here it is, ADM PDF. Browse. I think I need a faster computer, guys. This is taking way too long. Another thing to learn. Should have had this loaded up, queued, ready to go. My bad. My bad, guys. Watch this crash my computer. I'm just waiting for it to crash. Oh, it doesn't have access to that. That's why. Okay. There we go. Oh, it's not an image. It's a PDF. Okay, how do I do that? Image, slide, media source, text, content. You know what? We're just gonna go window capture again. And I'll just blow it up. Okay, American Athlete Development Model, right? So this to me is a great resource. It's been pretty reliable, but this is also with the kids having the skills that I use. Man, this thing, my feed is garbage. Ugh. All right, so I think I may need to use a landline. I bet that's my issue. Okay, So we're going to look at the tags one I use. So this, I'm using this one. I had 10-year-olds making tags like crazy, right? So we see here, if an athlete is capable to go 20 to 30 minutes, a base interval of 140, whatever it is, you mix it up however you want, mix and match. 140s for 100 freestyles, they should be able to go at 10 and under AAA time standard for the 100 free. That proved to be the case for me 100% of the time. So obviously you're gonna have some 8-year-olds, they can't do that yet, right? 9-year-olds probably can't do that, 10-year-olds probably can't do that. So what are the steps for them to be able to do that? Are they 1050s first, right? Where they can make 1050s on 50, okay? How much, now can I get them to go these 50s on 40? Because then if you just make your math easy, if they can go 120, they're gonna get 20 seconds rest, they're gonna have a very great chance of being able to do, oh man, I didn't flip it over, sorry guys, here you go. Right, so we have the ADM over here, right, 140, that's what I'm talking about right here. 10 under AAA time standard, right? So if my kids can, okay, so what do they need to do, right? So what skills do the kids need to have to be able to go 140 and get rest, right? Because if they're just barely making it, the kid's not gonna be able to go 30 minutes like that. At least to me, that's unreasonable. You're gonna, chase these kids out of the sport rather than you're gonna show them, hey, this is easy. You just need there's a progression, And then, because once it's easy, the kids will get after it. So we make it a skill set thing, right? So if I give you, I taught my kids hydrodynamic, speed from propulsion, basically clean up their energy expenditure to reward, right? So if a kid comes in and they actually work hard, they're going to get 100% of their effort into progressing down the pool. Whereas sometimes if a kid has bad technique, right, they'll put in effort and get half of that back out in terms of, transforming that into speed down the pool, right? So to go AAA times, right, that's probably the first step, right? If a kid constantly has quad A times, they're going to get sectional times by the time they're 14, whatever next time standard, whatever. And at each level, there's things that are needed to do those things, right? Yardage, growing, talent, hard work, mental toughness, and technique, right? So just on the technique side, what techniques do I need to teach my kids so they can make 30 minutes of hundreds on 140? Right now, I never did that, but I'm just saying, just so what we're given makes sense, right? So that's the first thing. You got to re-engineer your whole system, your thought process. If I need kids to go 110 by the time they're 10, or AAA times by the time they're 10-year-olds, that means they need to be able to go 100s on 140 for 20 to 30 minutes, right? What's the step below that? Well, they need to be hydrodynamic. They need to get a solid return on effort to swim fast to actually swimming fast. They need to be stronger. So that you can, dry land, right, can increase their strength. Growing, right? So just being 10 years old increases their odds of doing that. So you just figure out what the checklist is of things you need to get your kid to do to go the time, to go the performance, right? So it's just reverse engineering, right? And then so if one of my things is for my kid to be able to go 110s by the time they're 18 to swim at UT, maybe at 17 they need to have this time standard, 15 this time standard, 13 this time standard, 10 this time standard, right? Now if they have a faster time standard, right, there's other things that come into it, right? Like maybe the kid is just matured early, right? And that's kind of why I also have my process that I use and teach the coaches and teach the kids, is that there's levels based on their maturity, their physicality, their motor skills, to make sure that the athletes keep improving, right, with how their body changes and the needs that are needed to move a faster body down the pool. So yeah, I still have my mailing list linked down. The website is taking a long time. I'm changing servers. So I'm still waiting for my URL to switch over to this new server. But yeah, once that happens, get in the mailing list. We'll send you some stuff to help you increase the performance of the kids and your groups and your athletes, because it's all doable, right? It's just knowing that reverse engineering process you got to go through. You want your kid to be a 45-second 18-year-old, there's a checklist, right? And all the fastest backstrokers when I was at UT were 5'9". Shout out to Hill Taylor, and 5'11". Shout out to Cole. He might say 6 foot, but that's his internet height. But whatever. All right, so it's not a size thing. Right now, the shorter the kid is, right, a 5'9" kid, and Hill Taylor was, muscle taxi. But, if you're going to be shorter, maybe they got to be stronger, right, to have that underwater dolphin kick. So, because they ain't going to outpull nobody with those little arms. No offense. Sorry, homie. Right? So, it's a checklist, right? You got a 5'9" backstroker, you want them to go 46 while they're in high school. There's a certain pathway to do that. Figure out what that is. What are the prerequisites that make this process easier over 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, instead of just trying to throw it all at them when they turn 18, right? And then you're, trying to tell your kid not to be, or to take care of practice and not panic in the race, and here you are procrastinating too, right? Anyway, I'm kind of going on a tangent, but yeah. That's the first step. Reverse engineer what you need to do. And then go find your answers, which, I happen to know a certain chocolate brother with 2 thumbs who might have some. And then the next thing, so this is how I made sense of things. This is it's a Dax Hill exclusive. I have a performance equation, right? So it's performance equals practice over skill development plus talent, mental toughness. And maybe you can switch these twos around, talent and mental toughness. I like mental toughness as a multiplier. I think talent is a very static thing. Maybe you could put that as a multiplier, but you would want that to make sure this gets multiplied first, right? Now, the reason I have this is because, say a kid puts in 100 effort in practice and they got terrible technique, so let's say they get a 1, right? I gotta adjust this because I definitely have it backwards. Yeah, I do have to adjust it because my multiplication is bad. It should be a times, not a divide. Should it be? Whatever. Let's just go through it. I'm pretty sure my equation's a little faulty. But anyway, so we have practice over skill development, right? So if a kid is only getting a 10th, right, they have bad skill development. So say it's a 1% good skill, right? An F, a 1% good skill, and they're putting in 100 effort in practice, they're going to get 1/10 of that effort back out. Now, some kids have a great enough talent to overcome their bad habits, and then maybe they're mentally tough too, where they can handle pain. Kid's gonna ball out, especially when they're little. They get a little older, where you got that big body and move through the water, you're gonna have a plateau, right? Performance when they're bigger. I need to add that here, some type of equation for size, maturity. Right? The kid has great skill development, clean strokes. They're going to practice. They have a 100 skill development. That's going to divide into 100 over 1. They're getting a true 100% return on their effort. Add talent, add the mental toughness. You have those AAA times, right? According to the ADM. So, yeah, you got to reverse engineer it. I look at it as, right, it's training, how hard they're working in practice, technique, and then, find guidelines, right? Like, I would say this has been very accurate. With the technique side, this part right here, we had kids who couldn't do this who were beating these standards with the technique side, right? And I posted something on my Instagram that says the worse your technique is. Why am I trying to guess? I have my phone right here. What does it say? It says, the greater the inefficiency you train, the higher level of conditioning you need, right? I don't know if you can see that. Oh man, this is garbaggio. There it is. The greater the inefficiency you train, the higher conditioning you need, right? So, because a lot of it is motor skill programming, right? So if your kid's out there training bad technique, they're gonna need to be conditioned. And that's why a lot of times you got these high yardage athletes who can still swim fast even though they got trash technique, and then they plateau. and that's why my kids were going faster than those time standards, right? So yeah. Anyway, if you tuned in the stream, thanks for doing so. Sorry I couldn't get to something. I'm still learning. I gotta figure this out on the streaming because that was annoying. You know, so this is only my second stream. I'll get better. I ain't tripping. So yeah, that's it. Once that what's it called? Landing page goes up, you can go in there, join my mailing list. I'm gonna put out something. I have a poll running on Instagram. Go check that out and answer it, because based on that is what I'm going to be sending out in the first emails to the email list, right? So go answer that. Once the email page goes up, join the mailing list, or mailing list page, or something to say. Join that so that way you can get those answers to your questions. That's it in the live stream. Peace.